You probably max out your 401k, maybe even your Roth IRA. But the most powerful retirement account in America, it is not either of those. It is hiding inside your health insurance, and 80% of Americans are wasting it. Today, I'm going to show you how a simple HSA can quietly become a $1 million tax-free retirement account, why most people will never use it that way, and exactly how to flip the script. Look, here's the thing, before I show you the trick. Picture two people, Sarah and Mark, both 35, both software engineers, both married, both have 2 kids. Both contribute the family maximum to an HSA every year, $8,750. Same paycheck, same employer. The only difference, Sarah invests her HSA balance in a boring index fund. Mark leaves his sitting in cash, earning 0.5%. Hold those two names in your head. We'll come back to them, and the gap is going to make your jaw hit the floor. First, taxes. Every retirement account in America has 3 moments where the IRS could touch your money. When you put it in, when it grows, and when you take it out. A traditional 401k skips tax going in, lets you grow tax-free, then taxes you on the way out. Save now, pay later. A Roth account does the opposite. You pay tax now. Growth and withdrawals are free forever. Pay now. Never again. Most Americans think those are the only 2 ways to play this game. They not. There is a third account most people never look at. It taxes you at none of those 3 moments. Going in, tax deductible. Growing, tax-free. Coming out, tax-free. Triple tax-free. The only one of its kind in U.S. Tax code. Read that again. The only one. Going in, growing out. 00. It is called the HSA. Health Savings Account. The name is the reason nobody uses it. Now look, I know the reaction. You are thinking, hold on, isn't THSA just for medical bills? It is literally called Health Savings Account. That is exactly the take the system wants you to have. That is the assumption 80% of Americans walk in with. And the IRS is happy to let you keep it. Because every dollar you withdraw on a $30 copay is a dollar they don't deal with later. Former benefits administrators have been describing this on Reddit and Glassdoor for years. The HSA gets explained at orientation as a glorified medical piggy bank. Use it or lose it. Your manager says, spend it down by December. That is the script. That is what 80% follow. Here is what the rule actually says. And here is the part nobody tells you. The IRS doesn't actually require you to spend HSA money on medical bills the same year you got the bill. There is no time limit. None. You can pay a $30 copay with your credit card today. Save the receipt and reimburse yourself from your HSA 40 years from now, tax-free. The whole way through. 40 years, not 40 days. 40 years. That is not a loophole. That is the rule. The IRS just doesn't advertise it. Here is where this came from. Congress wrote the HSA into law in 2003, Medicare Modernization Act. The original intent was a medical piggy bank, but the people drafting the bill quietly left out one sentence. Any time limit on reimbursing yourself for past expenses. That one missing sentence is the whole game. Your HSA is in a spending account. It is a tax-free retirement account wearing a hospital gown. It was sitting in the tax code the whole time. 22 years. The IRS just wasn't going to call you. You are hearing about it now. Let's run the math. In 2026, you can contribute $4,400 a year into an HSA if you are single. $8,750 if you have a family plan. Do that for 30 years at the historical 8% S&P 500 average. Single contributors land at $498,000. Family contributors land at just under $1 million. Tax-free. Now back to Sarah and Mark. Same family plan, same $8,750 contribution, same 30 years. Sarah invested in an index fund. $986,000. Mark left his in cash at 0.5%, about $283,000. Same form. 3 clicks apart, $700,000. That is the gap. Think about that. That is a Toyota Camry. Paid in cash. That is a year of assisted living for both of his parents. That is a down payment on his daughter's first house. That is the family cruise they kept putting off because, quote, we can't afford it right now. That is his grandson's tuition. Mark could have done all of that. The money was sitting in the account. The bank just was going to call him. Now compare the HSA to a traditional 401k. Same numbers. But you pay around 22% federal tax on the way out. That is $110,000 gone for the single contributor. $220,000 gone for the family. The HSA keeps every single. But here's where it gets really weird. After age 65, your HSA quietly transforms. You can withdraw the money for any reason, not just medical. Taxed exactly like a traditional IRA, just ordinary income. No 20% penalty. Worst case, your HSA equals a traditional IRA. But for medical expenses, even after 65, withdrawals stay completely tax-free. Forever. Including Medicare premiums. Including long-term care. Including those 40 years of receipts in your folder. I know the reaction. You are thinking, okay, but how often will I actually have medical expenses in retirement? This sounds like a rounding error. It is not. Fidelity's 2024 retiree health cost study estimates an average 65-year-old couple will spend $365,000 on medical care over the rest of their life. After Medicare, picture this. You are 35. You see the doctor today. $200 bill. You pay it on a credit card and shove the receipt in a Google Drive folder. 25 years pass. You log into Fidelity and reimburse yourself. $200, which is compounded inside the HSA into roughly $1,400 of tax-free growth on top. You did nothing. The receipt did all the work. So, in plain English, an HSA is the only retirement account in America that, after 65, is at minimum equal to a traditional IRA, and at maximum, a permanent triple tax-free income source. Worst case, you tied a 401k. Best case, you broke the tax code. Legal. There is one more piece most people miss. Required minimum distributions. RMDs, the IRS forces you to start pulling money out of your 401k and traditional IRA at age 73, whether you need it or not. Big chunks, often shoved into a higher tax bracket at exactly the wrong time. HSA. No RMD ever. Read that again. Number required. Minimum distribution ever. You can leave it alone for as long as you live. Your money just keeps compounding, untouched. And here is the part that is almost unfair. When you die, your spouse inherits the HSA tax-free, and it stays in HSA. Same triple. Tax-free machine. The 401k? Your kids inherit it, and the IRS makes them drain it inside 10 years, paying ordinary income tax on every dollar. So if nobody is flagging this loud enough, where is the catch? There is T1. The catch is the name on the form. Okay, so here is what 80% of Americans are doing wrong. They re-keeping their HSA contributions in cash. Plan Sponsor Council of America data from 2024 shows only about 20% of HSA holders have actually invested their balance. 8 out of 10 people are running Mark's playbook, not Sarah's. Most see health savings account on the form, follow the default script, and slowly bleed value to inflation. While one of the most powerful tax shelters in America just sits there, here is the way I want you to think about this. The HSA isn't a savings account. It is a 5-part machine. Miss one part, and the machine just sits there. Part 1, a high deductible health plan, an HDHP. The HSA only opens if your insurance qualifies. The ignition. Part 2, a Fidelity, HSA. Not your employer, default, 0 fees. Regular index funds the day you open it. The engine. Part 3, pay every current medical bill out of pocket. Don't touch the HSA balance, the fuel. Part 4. Every receipt, even the $20 ones, gets photographed and dropped into a cloud folder. Receipts are tax-free withdrawal coupons that don't expire. The storage. Part 5. Invest the HSA balance in something boring. VTI, VU. A target date retirement fund. Just let it run for 30 years. The flywheel. 5 parts, 1 afternoon to set up. 40 years of compounding. When the IRS gives you triple tax-free, it is not just giving you a tax break, it is converting decades of medical receipts, every checkup, every prescription co-pay, every kid's broken arm into a parallel retirement account that nobody will ever ask you to drain. Then at 65, you log in. You look at your folder of 40 years of receipts, and you reimburse yourself. All at once, tax-free. Every dollar. That is the cost, not the $110,000 in tax that Mark paid on his 401k at the same numbers. The cost is that Mark's entire theory of how retirement accounts work. That the rich account is the one with the highest contribution limit. That theory is 22 years out of date, and nobody sent him the update. You're the update. That is the trick 80% of America does know, and now you do. I'm not going to ask you to like and subscribe. I'm going to ask you to send this to exactly one person. 1. The friend in your life who maxes their 401k but waves off their HSA at open enrollment because, quote, they don't have many medical bills. You know who it is. Send it to them tonight.